Okay, good on you guys. Welcome along, everybody. Hope you've had another fantastic week. There's a lot of really juicy and exciting stuff out there today or this week that's happened, and I can't wait to have everybody's input from the week. So I'll introduce everyone just quickly. Everybody should know Meghan, Meghan Jarvis, Eddie Griffin, and Justin Tamsett. So welcome along again, guys. I hope everybody's had a fantastic week. COVID's on the lips of everybody in the gym and the fitness industry out there, absolutely driving everybody insane.
No, I've got to stop you there, Richard.
Yep.
What it appears to me is what is on the lips of everybody is, have you had your hair cut since last Friday?
Yeah. Hey, and you don't know how hard it was to find somebody to cut my hair today. It was just ridiculous, I was getting like a woolly sheep, and it was like they'd look at you walking in the door going, no, mate, I haven't got time for you today. Well, or maybe they thought it was a waste of time cutting my hair because it was so thin, so...
you look fantastic. You look pumped up today. You look like you're ready to
wind down. Here we go.
Hey, you know what? Rugby league was on last night. How good was that? Full-on body contact sports again. All of that fun stuff happening during the week. Parramatta beat, the Brisbane Broncos, and what a great way to start the weekend.
Hey, did anyone just see Eddie then walk off to the right? I think
a friend who left her mobile in my car, and she's just turned up unannounced, and I'm like, the door's locked. How am I going to do this? So I've just opened the door.
Wow. Well, Paul Richard's talking about body contact sports, and you just swiped right.
I was like,
what's going on?
That was perfect. Sorry, apologies. I've got glass doors here. It's like I could just see her standing there going. Done.
I'll have naked men coming in mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's not nowhere near the naked man. I wish it was something like that. Check it. Check it. Look. Sorry about that.
Anyway, guys, let's get right into this. Overview of this week. Look, I've got to start. JT, you have what you've started, mate, with this thing on Monday. I think we should start with that, guys. And JT, hats off to you. I think that's fantastic. Not only Australia, but let's say the bloody world.
Protein shake today. No, I haven't got my sponsor. I've got my protein shake.
I'm drinking wine today.
Look,
it is the last wine down. Wine is on.
Thanks, Richard. This is not about me, and I've been very conscious of, spreading the word to say we want people to take ownership of this for their own business and for our industry as a whole. It was an idea, if anybody knows me, I have plenty of ideas. I throw them against the wall, and some of them stick, but most of them slide to the ground. And this one seems to have stuck. There are a couple of things that I think why it might have stuck. I think we're obviously in a lot of pain as an industry. I think the second one is it's really simple. It's not hard to do. And the third one is, dare I say it, we didn't give people a lot of time to overcomplicate the message. So if we said we're going to do this in 30 days' time, clubs would have been going, okay, how do we do this, or how do we do that, and how do we spin this, or how do we spin that? It's like, no, there is no spinning to this. The other important part of this campaign on Monday that I really want to reiterate to everybody who participates is that it's not a political message. This is not a political witch hunt. So we're not going out to tag politicians. We're not trying to politicize. We're not trying to make it a political thing. This is about a consumer-facing message to help the consumers feel comfortable coming back to the gyms, to have our consumers feel comfortable exercising with their trainers in the park or wherever it may be. We know statistically out of the States that somewhere between 40 to 60% of members are coming back in the first 2 weeks. But the next 20 to 30% of members, we don't know when they're coming back. They've said they're coming back, but they don't know when. And the reason that they're saying is, I don't feel comfortable. Well, we've got to change that. We've got to change that on a global scale So that was this message is about saying that exercise will build your immunity, will build your self-esteem, will build all the health factors. And exercise is medicine, and provided gyms are following the frameworks or the protocols that the experts have given us, gyms are safe. Gyms are safe if they're following those protocols. So feel safe to come back. You can trust us. You can feel confident to us. So I think that's the message that I really wanted to get across, was to the consumers, that they can feel really confident that their local gym, their local trainer is doing the best, following all the rules that they need to. They can feel safe. And exercise as a product is a bloody awesome product that makes everybody feel good and gets them healthy. So that's the message. And yeah, it seems to have taken off globally, which is really exciting.
Justin, just look, really interestingly, and I just want to slam this a little bit, because I get pretty sick and tired of this. And you touched on something about, like the media. I don't believe that they're portraying the industry, our industry, the health and wellness industry, the fitness industry, as well as they should. They're sowing seeds of doubt in the community. So people are out there. Look, I'm talking to people every day, and they're saying, why should I go back into a gym? How do I know if it's safe? All of these things. I saw some people the other day, and they were going not into a gym, but they were going into an outdoor class, and it was like they were sheep. They were walking in there and they were sticking their head around the corner. Is this safe? Is this going to be okay? Right? We should be instilling in people that this is a safe environment and it's good.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Stop the rot.
Yeah.
I totally agree, and I think this campaign is designed to do that. One of the things that I think is really important about this initiative is that traditionally the messages come from the brands. It's come from Joe's Gym, or it's come from Planet Fitness, or it's come from 24-Hour Fitness or Anytime Fitness. This campaign is designed to come from the grassroots. People will listen not to brands, they'll listen to people. So if our goal has to be that a brand sends a message, but all of our staff get online on their social media platforms and share it. And I've been very open and vocal in everything I've shared about this initiative, that we want every gym brand, no matter the size of the brand or studio brand, to say something. But we also want 50%. I don't know why we don't have 100%, but we want 50% of every single staff member that's employed in our industry to post something. And then we want 25% of our members, 25% of our members to simply post, I love Meghan's gym. Hashtag gyms are safe, exercise is medicine. That's all we need. And if we create that tidal wave of social media, hopefully it helps build that confidence back in our product. But we've got to rely on our troops, not our generals. We've relied on generals and it falls on deaf ears. Our troops are the key here.
I love that. And can I just add, JT, the reason that I believe the timing was impeccable, this is definitely something that you threw out and is sticking against the wall, is because even just in this week alone, we've seen bars reopen, we've seen restaurants reopen, and it's hitting the industry hard that we have been put to the side this week. And we're encouraging people to go back to their habits that they've done in the past, which we are literally there to help break. And the government's saying, but go to your bar, go to your local club, go to this, but not your gym yet, because that might be unsafe. And meanwhile, as we all know, as fitness professionals, we're actually looking at this, and that's why we've been on here for the last 4 weeks, as how do we make us the safest out of any industry, that people feel so safe that they can come into our gyms, more safe than going to a movie theater, than going to a theme park, than going to their local pub, because we've always, as they know, our clients know, we look after them first. There are a few local bartenders, I will give you, that look after their clients first, but every personal trainer out there, they got into this for their clients. They got into this because they believe we're doing something that can really make change. And as you said in your post, that we're here fighting the #1 cause of obesity, death, and things in the world right now, and that's getting overlooked. Like, this is literally, it's a changing time this week, and you've presented it at the exact opportune time. I mean, every club owner is literally, I know Planet Fitness has been one, but I think underlaying us as troops, or how you phrase it, is perfect. It can't just come from a major powerhouse. It actually needs to come from the people, because otherwise we're following a majority that's setting a standard, but we actually always have been looking at ways of how do we join the industry rather than segregate it. And you've done that. You've joined it rather than made it a one-person stand. So I think that's why it's super.
I just said, here's an idea, and you know, the industry has united, debranded even to a certain degree, and said we're working in this together, because that's the bottom line. We're fighting for small business survival. We're fighting for jobs while we fight for helping getting people healthy, and we shouldn't have to do that. Seriously, that's not our job, but that's what we're doing at the moment.
And I mean, exercise is medicine is what the reason that we've been here the entire time. So just pointing out the main crux, and you're touching on people's why. So you're getting to the emotion right away as a fitness professional as soon as I read your post. So that alone is making a huge collaboration. It's making a change. And it's not a political stance, which is another great one that you touched on, which is huge. I mean, we love political stances, but we also love to be able to make change without having to get political. So you're influencing underneath. It's kind of like an underground influence. It's amazing.
So guys,
it's happening. It's already happened.
So, you know, have we heard, you know, when gyms are likely to be opening? Have we, you know, has there been a date set, or is it another put on the shelf discussion?
Well, the good news in Western Australia is, I think just hours ago, they've said from the 6th of June, 100 people can be in a indoor place. Whether that means that's a gym, that's yet to be confirmed, I think. But you can have 100 people indoors, which is pretty exciting. South Australia have opened up for 24-hour access to gyms, which is good. Originally, South Australia said 20 people in a class. Then they flipped to 10 because someone in the health department found out about an outbreak in South Korea 6 weeks ago. So then they said, no, you can't have 20, you can only have 10. Now they've flipped back to 20. So within 48 hours, 20, 10, 20. What's happening in Queensland, Megan?
Yeah, it's been great today. We've just announced that we've had 5 days COVID-free. So we're looking to reopen on June 12th, and we're on track. Everything's going amazing. But I mean, as mentioned, everyone's super upset because restaurants are opening tonight. So restaurants are opening, but gyms are not opening. And that hurts my heart. It hurts. It's just, it's the reason why, JT, you're doing what you're doing. Planet Fitness has done the stance that they've done. It's fantastic. We have a due date, but what the hell is actually happening there? It's a really interesting thing. That's right. Yes, that's mine.
Yeah, it's in it, but I think, JT, you know, you're going to get the opportunity for this is also that we can have the conversation, because I don't understand that, you know, none of us understand, obviously, the challenge around why the fitness industry is so bad, because it's a controlled environment. At the end of the day, keeping hygiene isn't rocket science. You don't need a degree on how to wipe stuff down, take personal responsibility. If you're extra cautious, take your own hand sanitizer as well. And yet today I was at the shops. I went to 4 or 5 shops and there was absolutely no precautions being taken. I'm pressing stuff on my keypad for making a purchase. I'm touching things everywhere in 3 or 4 or 5 different shops, and get back in my car on my steering wheel. All I was thinking was, I need hand sanitizer in my car, because there's plenty of corner shops and other shops that have absolutely no precautions. And yet we're going to go into a gym where all that you think about is hygiene and being careful. So JT, total credit to you. It will enable us to at least have those conversations, which I think is part of it. It's not that hard to take precautions. It says, oh, we need to agree to do it. No, you don't. It's not that hard.
I think, Eddie, talking around the industry, a lot of the people are preparing, okay, so that, they've got, some of them have got some amazing strategies, for opening and how they're going to deal with these things. And then there's the others that go, well, let's just see what happens. And the same in the shopping industry, we've got the same mentality in there, haven't we? Like there's supposed to be a whole regime around, working and the safety factors of everything. So, but, the call in the fitness industry, we're a sweat box, so sweat goes everywhere. So, how do we, that's the mentality that's being fed out there. And that's what is irking me about the industry, is the mistruth. Yes, we've got group fitness classes. Yes, we've got spin classes, all of these things. But at the end of the day, it's about people's health and wellness, their mental health is suffering, look, there's a whole raft of things. We've got to come up with a bloody solution, and not in another week or month or fortnight. Somebody's got to stamp the ground and say enough's enough.
But I touch on that even. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry. But around the sweat box, I think mine's only a little point. Even if it is a sweat box, COVID is transmitted potentially through air. It actually doesn't matter if it's a sweat box, because it's transmitted in all different ways. So who cares? That to me, I don't understand that argument, because at the end of the day, it's transmitted, it's highly contagious. And so it doesn't even matter which way, if it's sweat or if it's spit, or if it's, if you're at a bar, you're drinking from several glasses, or, who knows, or at a restaurant. I just find that argument is actually irrelevant. I don't see that as a big difference. That's all. It's all relevant. Sweat, spit, handshakes, whatever it is. It doesn't actually differentiate as being more of a risk, does it? Is sweat more contagious than all the other things? I haven't seen any studies around that. So I don't know why that's a big argument. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up, because I don't see that as a difference in terms of risk.
And I think, Eddie, industry people, we don't understand. We have no concept of the logic of the politicians, of how they're coming up with this. I guess the person that came up with 10 as the number, well, if he had $1 for every event around the world where you could only have 10 people, he would be a millionaire by now. Or she would be a millionaire, because I haven't read any science that says you've got more chance or less chance of catching coronavirus if there's 8 people in a room or 12 people in a room. So how do you come up with 10? I don't know. And I think that's the frustrating thing for all of us, is that across the world, there are so many variable conditions and rules and regulations. There's nothing consistent other than this 10 number. Well, it seems to go 10, 20, 50 or 100. I mean, surely they're just being pulled out of someone's hat.
Well, I think you've just stopped us there, JT. But look, I think that, and that's the questions going around through the minds of everybody. I think we've touched on this just about every week. What's 10 in your gym, because it's only 100 square meters, but I've got a 2,000 square meter gym, right? I'm not going to open if 10 people come into my gym.
Do you know what I think as an industry, what we've learned over this process, and we need to learn from this as an industry. We must learn. And what we can learn is we do not in Australia have good lobbyists for our industry. So what I've heard, and admittedly scuttlebutt, is that the New South Wales Treasurer and the New South Wales Health Minister have both presented to Gladys Berejiklian papers that have said gyms can open. However, there's one person, someone inside the health department that's telling Gladys gyms cannot open. One person. Yet there are two people showing the financial model and the health model, it's okay to open. But she's listening to this one person. And this is happening, I think, on different levels in every state and nationally.
And globally.
Industry. If we want to make any changes to fringe benefits tax, or we want to link to allied health, we as an industry have to learn from this and go, we're missing the boat because we don't have a lobbyist. We've got a peak body. Well, we need to be saying to our peak body, set up a fund that we can put some money in every month to develop a fighting fund for our industry, for a lobbyist in government. Let me give you a classic example on that. One of my clients in the States, he donates $1,000 a year to the blue team. His wife donates $1,000 a year to the red team. So depending who's in power, that person in power knows that this small business donates to that red team or that blue team. And so they can now have a say in that local community.
Yeah, awesome.
And this is what we've got to learn as an industry. If we're going to get serious about stuff, we've got to play in that major football game. We've got to play on that major field. We can't be out the back. And we need a lobbyist. That's what we've learned from this.
Well, all I can say, maybe, is watch this space. Okay, watch this space.
Let's hope so.
I'm not sure where he is on the screen, but that gentleman there, JT. I mean, I don't want to say that, I don't want to negate Fitness Australia's, power and what they're doing right now to fight for us, because I think Fitness Australia has been doing posts to definitely put the word out and assist us. And I mean, in my own personal posts, I'll put something out and then we have to retract it. So Fitness Australia has been playing in the same game as somebody who is lobbying for the gyms. I mean, we've got over 1,000 partners in Buzzville in Queensland that are privately owned. Some are big box gyms, but a lot of them are just privately owned small box gyms that, and this is the biggest picture. This is why I'm excited about tonight. We cannot wait until the end of June. 30% of the fitness industry is predicted to go under by the end of June. So if it doesn't happen on Monday with you, JT, or with Planet Fitness's, lobbying, then we're going to see a huge decrease in our industry that's going to affect us all. So now is the time to lobby. Now is the time to do something like what you're suggesting. Maybe it's something you could bring up on Monday, but we need to make an impact over the next 30 days. We're on a deadline, and I don't want to instill fear, but we need to make sure that we instill the truth, which is this is going to happen if we wait another month.
It's almost paradoxical that the government said, we need you to you can exercise while we're in lockdown, you can exercise. And the reason why you can exercise is because of your mental health. While gyms are closed, forget about the mental health of the members and the general public. What about the mental health of the owner of a business, the mental health of the staff member who's on JobKeeper, or the staff member who's not on JobKeeper and had to go to JobSeeker? Like, we're not a big employer, I get that. But these people are, to be frank, they're fucking with the mental health of a whole bunch of people while they just hold off making a decision.
No,
Here's a question for you. Here's a question, Justin. JT, how many politicians took a cut in their pay through COVID?
I don't know the answer to that.
I can presume one.
None?
That's what I was going to think, Eddie. I mean, you're saying it like you want us to guess, and we're going to say
Yes, 0, but maybe that's a bit harsh.
that's a bit harsh. Maybe.
Well, my question is, like as you touched on, Justin, is that we, everybody else has had to suffer, if you want to call it, and go through this pain. And I'm not saying that they're doing a bad job at all, right? But you know what? There's a lot of businesses out there that are still going forward, that are still doing as best as they can in these situations, you know, and they've all had to take a cut, right? As an employer, right? It's a hard thing to actually have to say to your staff, guys, I'm sorry, but I don't have any work. So, but my question is to the politicians, what are you guys giving up for this? Maybe it's an additional few hours of a nighttime or a daytime or whatever. But what, you know, stand our ground and say, what are you doing?
Look, part of me, you know, I wouldn't want to be a politician at the moment. It's a pretty tough gig. And so I don't actually begrudge them of that, because it's a bastard of a job. I mean, it's huge responsibility. If they make the wrong decision and then there's a sudden breakout, we'll all be on their back. If they make, you know, it doesn't matter what they do. We're going to be critical. Everyone's under pressure. I just, part of me is like, you know what, pay them. They can have that job, because I don't want it. It's really tough. It's a tough gig. But what doesn't, I mean, I think it's.
And it's a shit wage too.
Sorry?
It's a shit wage. They're not earning that much.
It's a pretty tough gig, you know, and I understand them being conservative. I think the issue is, as we've said every week, it's just these inconsistencies. And fair enough, if you'd opened part of it and we'd had a breakouts in gyms in Australia, then I'd understand this hard ass sort of, but it's just that lack of, we have had Fitness Australia in there chatting with them, thankfully. And yet we haven't been given even a trial run, you know. It's like, well, New South Wales particularly, you know, and it's not like the other states have had big breakouts to make this happen. So it's not making sense, as with all the points you said around mental health and things. And it's also, it's just that I don't envy them. I think it's a tough gig, but it's the inconsistencies between states and things, which I know is happening around the world. That's confusing and hard for us to, what can we prove? Because we've been given no reason, and it just doesn't actually make sense. So I think I just saw Mel commented on some of the clubs are renting fencing to divide their clubs into separate areas so they can get more people in. I'm kind of liking some of that innovation, because if it's unreasonable, okay, we'll try whatever we can. That's kind of cool. Thanks for that comment.
Cool. I haven't heard that. That's a good let's start dividing our clubs up.
There's Mel Tempest, so yeah, funny.
Can I just make one point though? And like, we've got half an hour to go in the Friday wind down. I do think as an industry, this is not meant to sound harsh at all, but I actually said this morning. We have to stop feeling sorry for ourselves. We've got to stop having a pity party. We've got to drag ourselves out, dust ourselves off, and get ready to show the world, show our community, show an individual member how strong we actually are. So we can vent as much as we like behind closed doors, but when we get out into that community and we open our doors, it is not our job as a staff member or an owner to whinge and bitch to the members when they walk in, when they say, oh, you're open. And we go, yeah, we've been wanting to open for 3 months and they haven't let us open. That's not going to help anybody. So we've got to dust ourselves off, I think, and really take the high road on this and accept what's the cards that have been dealt to us. And let's just start going confidence in our product, confidence in our facilities. Like I say, whinge and bitch in this forum, but when we're in that public forum, I really believe we've got to take that high road and show maturity, because if we want the government to listen to us, we have to be mature. We can't sit back and just throw stones at them.
Well, look, I agree, JT, and but the interesting thing is that the information that they're actually working from is that shared to the rest to the industry, you know. So I guess the owners are saying that, or the gym owners are saying, well, give us what you're working from so that we can actually answer those solutions, you know, give you those solutions, you know. They're not trying to by any means, you know, close down the industry, if that makes sense. Like this is the gym owners. What they're trying to do is they're trying to say, well, give us what it is that we need to do, and we'll do it.
Yeah, definitely.
But they're not getting that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I do think the big push, JT, for the Monday is a really positive thing that we can all take out of it. And I think it's the first time in my experience of 25 years in the industry that the big guys and little guys are actually on the same page in a big way. I don't mean that but we have been a segregated industry, unfortunately, too much, from my opinion. And this is a huge opportunity if we could bring together, that lobbying body or something that we can have ongoing as the industry develops and matures. We have been a pretty young industry, and it's that could be a really exciting opportunity that we can all focus on going back in, and I really hats off to you for bringing that forward, because this could be a real shift in our industry where we all get on the same page for certain things. Yes, there's always going to be some things that have to be done separately, but I think it's an exciting opportunity, and I think those conversations are what can keep us positive.
Yeah, I think I do think there needs to be a slight
few people
adjustment in our thinking.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, huge leadership, and hats off to you guys for coming up with it.
And the other thing that you mentioned earlier that I want to just reiterate that you're doing by hosting this on Monday is that you're creating a connection between us and allied health professionals. And you're right, Eddie, it's not just, it's everybody in the fitness, anybody that has a fitness business, any fitness professional. So that's also huge. But I believe that by us collaborating together can make links with all of the other industries that it's so important that we're linked with right now, because allied health professionals are still practicing. Those industries are still allowed to practice because they're deemed mandatory, but yet for mental health reasons, all these other things we're not. That's huge. So what we're doing right now could create a huge shift, a huge change, which all of us know with our experience in the industry should have been years ago. We should have always been connected with them because we are practicing the same thing, that we're assisting in mental health as well as fitness. But I think this could actually join the bridges.
But how's this for a weird ass situation, Megan? My wife's a physio in a rehab hospital. So they have their gym and their rehab facility.
Here we go.
The rehab gym is closed because gyms are closed. And she's like, and it never occurred to me, I'm thinking commercial operations, but there are gyms within apartment complexes closed.
Yeah.
So I'm paying my strata fees to be able to use a gym that I can't use. And that makes no sense. Hospital gyms. So it really, we forget the absolute breadth of our amazing industry. It just encompasses so much. And while they don't make decisions, it has such an impact on so many aspects of allied health professionals, mental health, and physical health of people.
Yeah, correct. But I feel like we've been we're the like low-lying fruit. So we've just been torn off and chucked to the side in a lot of ways right now, but that's actually creating a ripple. So what we're doing right now is shifting that, which is super, super special. But that's a great example. A girlfriend of mine works in a practice in Byron Bay, and she's a physio and has been able to work in her gym, but yet no one else can work in her gym. But because she's a physio, she can work it's just
crazy.
And everybody who needs that gym has not been able to go in, and they're all suffering from the same things: anxiety, depression, or shoulder injuries, knee injuries, back injuries. There's no variance. They all need it, but only the ones that have been prescribed to go to the physio can go to it. The ones that are clients of PTs can't go.
Yeah.
So I think it's opening people's eyes.
Yeah, and look, JT, the other thing that's happening on Monday with what you're doing on Monday is really good. And one of my points for this week was about strengthening your relationship with the clients, and reaching out and engaging with your clients, and even the broader community. And I think, what you're doing by doing the Monday call is exactly that. And I think, we all know about the advantage of the mental health of pulling everybody together at the same time. We're all in this together and we're driving this forward. So, so there's a lot of strength in that, and we're going to say by doing this to clients and to the community that gyms are okay.
100%.
That they're working their butt off to make this work as well.
Richard, I just want to pick you up on one thing. This is not me. This is our industry. I've done nothing other than threw something against the wall, and the industry's run with this. So,
Justin,
that's an amazing statement, and just very non-egoic, and like just really puts it back on actually what's happening. And I appreciate you so much for saying that, JT. Because you did do that. You were like, let's see if it sticks, and it did because of the people in our industry.
Correct. And the people in the industry are driving this. The initiatives that the clubs are doing, they're driving this. And if we can get any impact on consumer confidence, we come out of the COVID tunnel a lot stronger than perhaps what we might have been 2 weeks ago. That's the goal. And the more that clubs embrace this, share this, talk to their members, the better they're going to come in 2 weeks when they can go to 20 people or they go to 50 people. That's the key message. So yeah, thank you, but it's not me, it's our industry.
Yeah, but Justin, can I sorry, Eddie, I know you want to say something, but the thing is though, mate, in leadership, somebody has to throw the first punch, and that's what you've done. In all your humility, mate, you've had the balls to step up and say it.
Well, people know I love throwing.
I was going to say.
That's from my.
No, he's not afraid of saying things that he feels.
So anyway, let's move on. What else have we got?
Okay, so we got.
I would love to add to the positivity.
Yeah.
That within the next 20 to 30 days, right now is where we would really lose people. So it's so important right now. Oh, we've got Dallas coming in. Here we go. Richard, do you want to introduce Dallas?
Yeah, sure. Look, guys, on the back of everything that's happened this week, we have somebody coming in. So Dallas Ros Kelly. Dallas is the founder of Planet Fitness Australia. Dallas has. G'day, Dallas. How you going?
Great, Rich. How you doing?
Fantastic, mate. Just doing a bit of a quick intro there with you, and I'll introduce you to the rest of our team. But
Sure.
So Dallas has been in the industry here in Australia for 25 years. So he's seen the industry go through its highs and lows. And today, you might have all read an article this last night in Fitness and Leisure. I think the magazine or the article, the booklet's called. But anyway, Dallas sent them an article and said, look, enough is enough, and we need to stamp the industry and say, look, what the hell is going on? And so Dallas, I'll introduce you quickly to everyone here. So we've got Eddie Griffin. Okay, so Eddie is a renowned speaker in Australia, as the other guys here as well. And let Edwina talk a little bit about herself there. We've also got Meghan Jarvis up there. You might know Meghan through Buzzville. And we've got Justin Tamsett, so you'll know.
The legend.
Yeah.
Can I just say,
Here he
Dallas
is.
Ros Kelly and Justin Tamsett are the only two surviving Newcastle Knights fans on the planet.
Correct.
Everybody else has left them, but we are still, and for those that are unaware, top of the table, I think, is the Newcastle Knights.
Absolutely correct. 2 out of 2, going for 3 out of 3.
I don't know why
That's
they
it.
brought the season back, Dallas. I
It's
would've-
over. That's it. We're calling now.
There you go. It's very important in Canada. Even when your team is down, you stick with them. You don't
That's
leave
it.
your team.
That's
So
it.
a lot of respect to you guys that you stuck with them. I've been a Raptors fan, and believe me, it took a long time for us to get where we got. So I like it. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's great.
So guys, back on task now. So Dallas, to give you a little bit of an update, and everybody that's watching this,
Yeah, what's happened?
we've just had a discussion now. Justin's instigated a call to arms, if you want to call it, for the community, clients, and everybody to start talking about on Monday.
Yep, I read that.
Yep.
Sensational.
Yep. So Dallas, look, my question to you is, okay, so you've been around the industry here in Australia for a number of years. You've seen a lot of highs and lows, and your call today is about opening up our gyms, you know. So can I just quickly, I'll just get you to recap on that if you could, because a lot of people out there today wouldn't know that you've actually done this if they didn't pick up that magazine. But can you just quickly talk about, you know, your call to action on this?
100%. You know, part of what I started to realise was that, I mean, I sit back and whinge and carry on in my own little world, and I think I just took for granted that the people that are supposed to represent our industry in some format were actually doing something. I found out in the last 2 weeks that I was delusional in thinking any such thing, and that they pretty well sit on their ass and do nothing. So I've got to point to myself and think after 25, 30 years, it's time to start making a noise. And in the last week, what's really come out of it is the fact that this fitness industry is not, I don't even think that we're represented in any shape or form in the massive format of what we do in gyms. You know, from little mum and dad's gym to the biggest and largest with whatever it may offer. So that is what's come out of this, and the fact that, okay, I need to stand up. A lot of people now seem to stand up. Justin, who's, you know, marshal people, and the more people start to stand up and say, hang on a second, you know what, this is not the 1980s sweatbox, Rocky Balboa punching in a ring sort of shit. You know, we move so much to holistic training, mind, body, and so many formats. These clowns have not a clue in the darn world what's really going on in our industry. And it means we haven't represented. We haven't gone out there, knocked on the door and said, hey, this is today's fitness industry. And I think that's the strong message, let alone the people that haven't represented us. So we need to make changes. And I guess I've decided I need to get off my backside and start to make noises, and I will. Because it's my livelihood. And I look now, probably that's the other things I look around. I don't think people quite understand, you know, people coming in and out of our gyms. Now, anyone who's got any sort of a fitness center has had to borrow money to buy equipment of any kind to do anything. You can't get a loan on a piece of gym equipment. They say, have you got a property, some sort of, you know, something we can take a hold on, a mortgage. So that's what happens. So people don't quite get that you signed a personal guarantee, you have mortgaged your house, so that means your life. Now, if you've been doing this for 5 years, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that's all on the line. And people are putting that out there because they believe in what they're doing in this industry. There's not many people that have been in this industry over 5 years, and JT and all the people like myself that have been around forever. You know what? Yeah, we understand money. We want to be very profitable. We're in business for profit. But I tell you what, we're driven by the passion of what we believe in, and that's people and health and wellness and fitness. And that's what we need to go out there and do. So I guess that's where I come from.
Look, Dallas, and it's fantastic. You know, I mean, it's a pretty big industry here in Australia, and I think sometimes it's forgotten just how big that industry is. You know, the figures, you know, like are just astounding. You know, I think it's $4 to $5 billion industry. You know,
yeah, it's over 4 billion.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think in fairness, we actually are a small industry in comparison to lots of other industries in the sense of contribution to the economy or contribution to even employment. However, we have a massive impact on millions of people who come
100%.
to our facilities. That's where our power as an industry actually lies. And I had a conversation with Greg Oliver the other day, and he said, what we need to do as an industry is we need to swing an election. Like we could swing.
I agree totally.
We can.
If 15 or 17% of this darn country come to gyms, they need to open their eyes and understand that actually they're voting people. They're not kids.
Yes.
These are voting people. That would swing, half of that would swing any election to anyone.
100%.
You're dead right, JT.
Eddie, you've got. Sorry, Megan, you wanted to say something?
No, I was going to say that's dead right. And the impact that we're making is much greater than the number of, or the amount of impact that we're having just on the economy. We're actually fighting against the #1 disease. So we're the ones that are fighting against all of the different things that people get sent to. But underlying that, we're the base level of ensuring that they don't need to get sent to other healthcare systems. So if we're able to do our job, then mental health improves. Then we don't need as much money spent on our hospitals, on COVID, on this. But this underlying, our message and why we're here is so, so important, but we have no voice. So exactly what you're saying, Dallas, is and JT, it's like, if we can make a huge impact right now and allow people to see us the way that we're making the impact, it will change everything ongoingly. It could really bring us all together. So it's
I agree 100% with what you're saying. I agree totally with what you're saying. And I think this is a big wake-up call for us, our industry, ourselves, to go, wow, we haven't done a real good job at getting to the people who make decisions in this country. They have not a clue in the world. They're brainless. They're talking about the most ridiculous things. And what you just said, 2/3 of the Australian population is either overweight or obese. And they just happen to be the people who have all the side effects and illness that are the most affected with this COVID-19 issue. Right. So it's like, if you follow the whole channel right back down, how about if we continue to work on getting fit and get a little bit more support and a healthier society, we stand to handle anything better, because who says what's coming next?
Mm-hmm. That's a fair point too. We don't know what's coming next. It could be.
Yeah, but the government set a precedent now. What they're going to do if something comes next?
Yeah.
So Dallas, prior to you actually coming along, one of the discussions we had was just in relation to Justin and standing up and saying, let's pull this together on Monday. It's great, and yourself, yeah. No, well, Justin, somebody's got to step up and take the lead, and that's exactly what Dallas has done here as well. Is that he's stepped up, had the gumption to actually to call this to task. So I think you've got to be patted on the back for that, Dallas. It's a gutsy thing to do. But the other thing that we're actually talking about is that, and in our conversations over the last couple of weeks, has been about the industry as a whole. Now, what brings me into the gym is different to what's going to bring somebody else into the gym, and go and so forth. So we're very rounded in the way that we actually affect and influence in the community. And that's something that I don't think is really fully understood out there in the marketplace. Everybody thinks that people come in there to get fit, they're going to be this superhuman and whatnot, but people come in there for the mental illness, for the association, for the inspiration, if you want to, and the association, so there's a lot of benefits that go out from this as well.
Yeah, I agree. I would honestly say, and I'd like to throw this across everyone here, that I would say to most people that come into gyms, it's either well-being, stress-related, loneliness. A lot of these other factors are the main factors. It's just, fitness, how far fitness, everyone wants to get fitter, but it comes back to the other issue, depression, and all these other side issues that are a huge reason why people come to our industry. And I think that's got to happen a lot more out there, because I don't think, I know we have come through our clubs and, the programs that we work with different hospitals and that, and like, we're just a tiny little group. We've got some huge aspirations now with the joint venture I've done with Planet in the USA and that, but when I come back, I was thinking this, the last couple of days, in the last 24 hours, I'm thinking, if I've got Hunter New England Health in here and we're running joint stroke awareness and teaching people that have had stroke campaigns and how to teach them. That means a lot of other health clubs and gyms are doing the same. And we've done a thing with them the same in people that have had different heart disease. So I don't think the government understands that people in our industry are doing a lot more with these sort of other medical associations. And so if I'm doing it, I reckon everyone's doing it. So I think that's part of what we've got to say is, hang on a second. We are working in with a lot of other people. This is what we represent. We're not just this tunnel vision group of people.
So
And
Eddie,
Dallas,
you've
the
got something.
government- and I just said I've done a bit of work with government and some surveys in sport and rec sort of different areas, and there's quite a few national surveys that back up exactly what you're saying. So the government actually has got that data, which is why I don't understand. And in a lot of the studies I looked at, the national studies actually showed that one of the main things was mental health, connection, having fun. You know, they were up there with the top 1 and 2. So you're right, but the government has that information. So that's why I don't understand these decisions.
It's funny how they actually funny how they lose a lot of data when it comes out to these sort of things. I had a friend send me a message last night. I had no idea about this. And they said to me, Dallas, my daughter's 10-year-old, and we have some sort of thing. The government gives them 3 times a year $100. She's a single mum, for her daughter to participate in active sports. It's a New South Wales government initiative. I had no idea.
Yep, that's correct. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, we have that.
Yep.
We get it. You get it for sport and for arts. Eddie, I think I know the answer to your question. I think a lot of that data is held under the sports umbrella. And what the figures must do is we must come from the sports umbrella and go into the health umbrella. Because I got a funny feeling that sport don't talk to health. They might be down that corridor, but they don't talk. And so we've got to work, again, that lobbying effort to move our industry into that health modality. Traditionally, historically, we've always been under sport, but we are not sport. We're not even close to sport.
No.
So we've got to move to that umbrella of health and take that data with us. It's a tougher job perhaps than we thought, because people still consider us, we don't have a great name at that government level.
No, you know what?
Still consider a sport rather than mental health and psychology.
Correct.
And sorry, Dallas, to cut you off. Just to add to what you were saying earlier, that my mom's a psychologist. She's always inspired me to get into fitness. And she's the one who really saw and at a young age taught me that there's a huge bridge between psychology, mental health, and fitness. And, happiness and joy is all related. If we can really bridge that gap, that could be a huge change right now in our industry.
100%. I think we really have to start to step back and look inward and see. And man, and I sit back in the most simple way in the last day or so when I get on with my rant and my poor daughters. And I sort of come back and I've gone, you know what? We're not gyms. That's an old terminology. We are health and fitness centres. That is who we actually are now.
100%.
The government needs to understand that's what's going on.
Guys, if I can just ask a question, Dallas, just moving forward, Justin, Eddie, sorry, you were going to say something there, Eddie?
Oh, no, only just said the sporting, the whole thing with all the sports fields and the rugby, and they were worried about mental health the most with community groups. So actually sport isn't aligned with me. I don't see why that even is a block, to be honest. That whole discussion around that, I rang some of local councils and state people in sport, and their biggest concern with COVID was mental health. So I don't even see, even if we are lumped with sport, why this isn't being recognised. So that's still I wanted to throw out.
I agree.
If I can steer this now, like a question, Dallas, Justin, Meghan. Now Meghan's got a gym over in New Zealand. You've got one in Australia as well. Is that correct? Yep. Okay. So what are you going to do, or what is happening? And this is the question, to give the confidence back to the consumer to come back into your gym. So Dallas, you've fired this out. I'm the government sitting there now going, okay, what is the industry doing now? This is two-phase question. So, and it's hard to answer because you don't know what the standard's going to be for people coming back into your gym, right? Who's setting that standard? The government's setting that standard. So that's the first question. Is I guess what are we doing? Who are we listening to actually put together these standards? Is it the Australian government, or are we looking at the world, right? And the second thing is, what are we doing to actually encourage our people to come back in the gym? What's our hygiene standards?
Well, it's a good question, Rich, and I think this comes back to why a lot of people have sat back thinking, okay, our industry has a representative, must be Fitness Australia, that's going to come up and push the platforms of gyms will open, and this is how they prepare to open. this is what gyms have been doing, blah, blah, blah. And I figure they've been talking to all the major groups, and this has been happening. I think I'm starting to be very wrong at that, because I think the biggest problem is that we need to have a unified representation of the people that have been in the industry, like JT and all these people, because we can talk about social distancing. Okay, so they say, look, you know what, Monday there's a huge issue with social media. It's just gyms day. Tuesday comes, they go, you know what, you can open up, and you can have 10 or 20 people in your gyms. Well, you know what, I'm more pissed off than I am today. And this is what I've said to the politicians, and I've had some response from the politicians, and this is a simple thing. I said, well, you're going to just let Anytime Fitness and the boutique gyms open and have a capacity, and they're going, you beauty. And anyone with 1,000 to 2,000 square metre gyms, are going, and I had this bit of a joke going today, and I said, listen, I'm going to ring up one of the footballers I know, and JT will know this bloke, Owen Craigie, who was a wonderful Aboriginal boy footballer, very, very spiritually connected with the elders of the Aboriginal group. I was going to give him a call and say, listen, look, your mob are incredible backtrackers and tracking and all the rest of it. We're going to need them in the gyms, because we can only have 10 or 20. We're going to need them to go and find the members somewhere in our gym. We won't be able to find them because there's hardly anyone in it. And that's the problem. It's like they need to have some common sense. IHRSA represents the industry pretty strongly out of the US, and it seems to be a bit of the global body. And you have a look what's happening in the US, and they're going on a format of square meterage. Now, we've also got to be, I just don't think gym owners are stupid and going to go, yeah, just in, just go. We don't give a shit what you do. There's not a gym owner that I know that's been operating for more than a couple of years that hasn't pulled anyone into line. Anyone plays up there straight out. It's a business. It's not a game. Yeah. So people police their gyms. They're respectful. They believe in what they're doing. They're passionate what they're doing. And we run darn good places. And I'm talking about everyone in the industry. I mean, if there's a couple that need to be pulled up, they'll be pulled up darn quick. But at the end of the day, our members nearly will, in most gyms, police the gyms for you. They all clean and wipe, and we all seen before we got closed down how much darn hand lotion and we all went through and wipes and that. Yeah. Like we've been teaching this practice for the last 10 years in our gyms. So it's a fact of the education of them as much as us. Yeah, we'll do social distancing. We'll do an insane amount of directional things. We're not going to have body, contact, probably fitness for a while. But of course, we understand that. But again, we need the body to come and say blah blah blah. Like I would have gone along, and this is what I sent to Fitness Australia. And believe me, if you've seen the first email I sent to the imbeciles at Fitness Australia, and that's all I can tell you they are. I use some in head. The language I use because I put a question with it. I said, "Can you tell me that?" And he might be a terrific bloke, but I said, "As a head of Fitness Australia, has he owned a gym or worked in the fitness industry in the gyms?" They wouldn't answer it. When I finally got on the phone to him, I asked the question again. No. Get rid of this person. Get someone who knows a darn industry. Blimey, that's what's representing us. Now, it might be a wonderful person, all the rest of it, but you don't get what we do. And here's the problems.
And so, Dallas, moving forward into the let's say we start to open up, what sort of standards, do you see being enforced in hygiene and so and so forth into the industry? And JT, everyone else probably, Meghan, you're in New Zealand, you might have seen some stuff happening over there that, may be key to people that are listening to this here today.
Well, obviously everyone's got ongoing cleaning. If you don't have your private cleaning companies come in and staff cleaning, that's pretty well general practice in all health clubs now. But you're going to up that. You're going to do more. You're going to be more vigilant on that sort of thing. And of course, you're going to be making sure you're really checking your sanitizing stations. You're going to have them a lot more around the facility. Everyone's going to have whatever the social distancing requirements are, whether it's 1.52 meters, they'll do it. They'll either turn off every second machine or they'll move them around. That's how it'll be. I mean, spin rooms, I doubt that you can run them. It's, it's just not enough room in there. Fine. I mean, I even thought, look, treadmills have the first 4 weeks walk only. Like there's so many things you can do. But they need to talk to us. People in this industry are passionate like me, and they know what they're doing. This is their industry. Wouldn't you go and talk to the people in the industry? If I want, go to talk to someone about a brain surgeon, I'm not going down to the local mechanic, am I? So it's the same darn thing.
No, you're right. You're right, Dallas. I mean, there's lots of new technologies out there, and that people can take advantage of, and some of them are not so cost restrictive, you know. So, but I think the members are going to drive a lot of this as well. But you know, it's about giving confidence to people as they come back in the door, and you know, people like yourself are stepping out there and saying to the community and to the media and to the government that we're serious about this and we want to make this work. So, JT, anything to add there?
Yeah, look, I think a couple of things that Dallas said I totally agree with. I think the first thing, I think members are going to do more policing in gyms than anybody else. There'll be vigilante members for sure. I do believe that every fitness facility, no matter the size of it in our country, will be doing their absolute utmost to keep the place clean and sanitised. So I think that is great. And I think as an industry, we will be leaders in this compared to other industries. So I think that's a real feather in our cap that should give us credibility with the government. I understand the passion and the reason why Dallas feels the way he does about Fitness Australia. And I feel sorry for Fitness Australia in a way. They're a meat in the sandwich here. They're coming off the back of some pretty tough years. They've had to reposition, and before they've even got a chance to reposition themselves as anything, this is thrown on them. And I can assure Dallas and everybody that Barry is a great bloke, and he is literally learning on the run. And it's not what we wanted. We wanted a CEO in there who was bedded down and knew the direction and knew the industry well. But the poor guy's only been in there 14 months and the seat's hardly even warm for him. He has done a great job in a sense of got connections with the government, but those connections are probably definitely not strong enough. Now, if we went through this in 5 years' time, it would be completely different. The relationship that the peak body would have, I'm sure, would be different. I hope it would be different. But the reality comes back to the fact that we as an industry have to drive it ourselves.
That's true.
We as an industry, you know, if Fitness Australia are our peak body and they're not doing the job, there's an election. We can change the board, which can change the direction.
That's good. Have an election tomorrow. Punt a lot.
If us as an industry are not going in the direction that we want, and we're going down that sport route or that guerrilla bodybuilding route, well, we have to change that. And I love what Dallas said and saying, really, we're not a gym anymore. We're health and fitness. And I think that's the ball that we need to run with. We need to run with, we are health and fitness.
Well, JT, you touched what you've just nailed there with that, and Dallas, and we've all been talking about it for the last couple of weeks, is that you know, as a provider of fitness equipment and wellness equipment, we don't talk about supplying gyms. We talk about supplying product to wellness and health centers and fitness centers. You know, for that particular reason, the gyms, in a lot of people's mind, okay, is the old days where there was just a boxing gym down on the corner, you know, and it was, you know, an old sweat box, you know, and you know, those days are gone, and I think the industry's become so much more professional that's how it should be presented. We should throw the word gym away.
But Rich, can I just add something to that? And I saw this on the feed, on Meghan's feed at the moment. And Mel said this. She made a comment about the media kind of propagate this. And Mel's 100% right, because 99% of the newspaper articles about COVID have had a scantily clad woman with bodacious fake boobs or butt, or a guy with a six-pack that's completely unrealistic as part of the image to the article. Now, I go to a lot of gyms and I don't see a lot of those people. That's not the average member, unfortunately for some of us, unfortunately for others. So we as an industry,
You're
we're
right.
going to go to the media and say, hey, how about updating your stock photos? Because those photos propagate what we're talking about now, the positioning of our industry.
Yeah.
It's about
Like the
real
80s. They've
Oh, I
It's
couldn't
about real people.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Mel's 100% right. The media keep
Yeah.
feeding the consumer that we are a gym or, you know, dare I even say it, a zoo
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
We're not.
So,
We're normal people.
Eddie, can I just, you were going to say something a little bit before and we got cut off? Something's going on. Is it?
No, it's sort of going back a bit, I think. It was just really around a couple of things, but the Fitness Australia.
Okay, we've lost Eddie there, but
I've never not had Barry ring up, and I think.
we've lost you there, Eddie. But Megan, if I could just throw to you just quickly, New Zealand. Tell us about New Zealand. How's that going?
I love what Dallas and JT touched on briefly, that we can actually be the leaders when it comes to sanitization right now, because right now we're given the opportunity to go in and show that we're cleaning our gyms better than anybody else. And sorry, not gyms, facilities. Let me rephrase that, because we're going to erase the word gym from our vocabulary. We're showing that in a health and fitness facility, better than even a medical center, we're utilizing systems called fogging, for example, that literally get every single area and space. They're inexpensive, but you can then say to your clients, we've been fogging the night before. We've actually ensured that the entire area 100% has been sanitized with environmentally friendly, amazing products. So we've utilized that over the last 2 weeks, and they feel more comfortable coming into our gym than they do going to their dentist. So I think that it could also be an opportunity for us as fitness professionals to show that our cleaning, our sanitization, everything is at an utmost high level without spending a lot of money, utilizing new technology, which is something that we've done in the fitness industry, you know, over the last, since we started. So this is something that I think we can now utilize again, and we're at the forefront. Why not bring this in and make it something that we're able to stand out by?
Yeah, totally.
So that's what we've been doing in New Zealand, Richard, to answer your question over the last 2 weeks.
Yep. And so New Zealand, okay, so how's things moving forward in New Zealand? You're seeing numbers returning back into the gyms, like clients starting to return?
Yes, so in New Zealand, this is our week and a half of operating, and already yesterday they announced that on June 22nd we can go to level 1, which means that we are open.
Wow.
So I mean, yeah, already yesterday. I don't know if that's me. It might be someone else. So that's huge. It means that gyms are now on their, it's great for New Zealand. New Zealand's looking fantastic. And I guess the biggest thing in the health and fitness industry is really showing that we're on top of hygiene better than anybody else. And that's why I'm pointing this out right now. Our customers, we've had more people come back than before in our second week, because we're utilizing these standards and people feel safe. Like, that word safe is the biggest thing.
That's
They
fantastic.
trust us, they feel safe.
Because, you know, I mean, for us, June 22nd, I reckon that we will probably have international flights between Australia and New Zealand by then. So, hey, JT, we can fly to New Zealand because the Queensland border will be still shut, have a holiday and have a workout, because where gyms are probably still closed. So it might be the only way to have a holiday and have a workout in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah, Megan, what are you going to do? Can you open up the borders? Can you have a word to your premier?
Yeah, exactly. We'll start fogging everything. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty big. It's a turn of the tide.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things that the government done was the fear factor. You know, they have pushed the fear factor to such a level they scared the shit out of everyone. Yeah. I mean, I went out in Sydney last week to a restaurant. My daughter booked a place. We went out. They doubled the prices. Walked out at 6 o'clock at the back end of Pitt Street, and there was just no one. They scared the hell out of everyone. I'm going, I thought there'd be a couple of people wandering around going to a food place or something. At least 10 can go, but it was like a ghost town. I went, no, I'm heading back to Newcastle. Like, are you kidding me? But, one of the other things that's really annoyed me, that every day when I drive past this huge building site on the way to my office, which is in the gym, and we're doing a lot of renovations. And I drive past, and they're pouring a concrete floor, and there are guys that are shoveling, sweating their guts out, and they are like ants all over the place. Not a problem. Apparently, they're immune in that industry to COVID-19. It's quite a remarkable situation in this world. I mean, I think we need to say they must have the answer. It's bullshit.
They do, Dallas. It's called high vis.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
When you put high vis on, you can't catch a thing.
That's it.
Is it still true that you can't catch COVID through sweat?
Yeah.
So the imbecile from the health department that's on telly going, people sweating when they're working out, and someone might get sweat on them from someone else, is sort of half incorrect on their stupid comment when we have them come out with that.
Well, I did hear
I think you have to catch the sweat in your mouth.
Exactly.
That's what it is. So there's still a little bit of a debate around it. Yeah.
Like seriously, some of these people the government put up on to say what propaganda they want. It's an embarrassing joke, and they've got to be called out.
Well, I heard today, and I've heard it a couple of times, that that COVID can stay, or the virus can stay, and they're suspended in the air for, I think it's about 14 minutes. They now say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this is the great thing, is we do have an opportunity. I don't know if you can hear me now, but to frame our industry as not being, there is a perception of it's easy to get in the fitness industry. None of them are educated. I'm sorry, but I've heard that a lot. I don't know about you guys, being in the industry 25 years. We've been trying, since I started 25 years ago, to change the perception. I've had holistic mindfulness, yoga, Pilates for 25 years. Well, I don't have a center now, but so this is not a new message yet. We haven't been able to get through. And so this is a really good opportunity. Yes, let's create a lot of noise, because we have been thrown under the carpet, but maybe because of that, this time we've actually got a fair argument to go, well, why are you saying, the sweat argument? Why? What about this? What about that? Because it's a fair argument. They've actually given us a few good loopholes to get into the media for.
Yeah, you're right. And we've got to keep it going, not just, for a week, gyms get open and go, oh, don't worry about it. No more of that. That's why we're where we are now.
Alex, I think that's the key point, because when gyms open, we will all pull our heads in and go, oh, okay, let's get back to business. And in a year or some other time, we're back in the same hole.
No, don't do that. No way.
I agree.
But I think everything that we've gone through is, and you can look at it as a negative, but I think it's time to look at this as like the golden rivet. This is the key for us to actually change the face of the industry, how it's perceived, how things are actually done in the industry. So I think we should be portraying that it's not a negative that all of this COVID stuff's been happening, but that it's, let's put a stamp on the ground and say, you know what, the fitness industry is one of the best in the world.
It is. Agree.
So, but anyway, guys, look, we've gone way over time. We've talked about an awful lot of things here this evening, and I think we'll have to call it quits here. But thanks, Dallas.
Sorry I was late. I was loading the truck, but thank you very much for listening to me mumbo jumbo and rambling on. But lovely to meet everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Dallas.
You're awesome, mate.
Much, and great article. I read it earlier today, so really appreciate what you're doing for our industry, and somebody that's in it. It means a lot. So thank you.
Thank you to everyone of you guys, because we're all the same. We're in this together.
See you on Monday.
Good on you guys. All right. Thanks, JT. Look forward to hearing everything on Monday.
Let's fire them up.
Yeah, well, can we just leave on just giving the details, JT, if that's okay, for everybody that's listening, what we're doing on Monday?
Yeah, so all we need to do is, as a brand, we need to promote gyms are safe when they follow a framework, and exercise is medicine. So they're the two hashtags: gyms are safe and hashtag exercise is medicine. We want to promote it as a gym brand. Then we want our staff to promote it on, and we don't just want to do Facebook. We need to do every social media platform that people are on. And then we need our members to do it.
Yeah.
And if anybody's watching that has any contacts with, I don't know, the odd NRL player or any celebrities, then it would be great if we could get them to go out there and say something as well. I mean, if you think about it, most celebrities, most sports people train in a gym, but they can't train at a gym at the moment.
Yeah.
You know, the amateur sports people. So we need them to get their message out. We need any social influencers who all train at a gym to say gyms are safe and exercise is medicine. So we can't, again, I kind of use the language that Dallas used before. We can't sit on our asses about this. We actually have to go to our members and say, please share this message, because this message is going to help business, help people keep their jobs, and then encourage your friends to come and join a gym, and that will reduce the healthcare costs in our country.
100%.
Yep, 100%.
Well said. Well said.
It's huge. And we can join you on Monday on your Zoom.
Anybody can. I'm not Zooming. I'm just out there pushing it. So
Okay, yeah, okay.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no branding on this. I think that's the most exciting thing.
No.
The most exciting thing I've seen is that, you know, Snap have come up with their version. Vision of Personal Training have come up with their version. Fitness Australia have their version. And everyone's got their own versions, which is fantastic.
Yep,
Because
that's what we want.
that's what we want. We want the members of Planet Fitness to feel proud and show their message to their friends in the community, but still that consistency of those two hashtags: gyms are safe, exercise is medicine.
Sensational work, JT.
Good on you guys. Fantastic. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Rich.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll be in touch. Well done,
Thanks,
guys.
Mike.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you, you too.